For the past few weeks, Matt's been working on a side project, building our Helm seat completely from scratch. We wanted something similar to one on Mac's Cruise, Hull 16, but without the heavy metal frame. So instead, we chose to build ours entirely from foam and fiberglass. Using section pieces of MDF, we played around with the height, width, visibility, and easy access to the cabin top. And once Matt had the design dialed in and fitted to the space, it was time to bring it to life. Set up in our trailer next to the boat, we had just received our order of Nida-core, a lightweight honeycomb foam, along with sheets of high-density foam. We cut everything down to size, but before we could start bonding the pieces together, they needed glass on both sides. So early one Saturday morning, while the light was good and the temperatures were as low as they'd get, we got to laminating each section as a group. First, we wet out a layer of 12-ounce fiberglass with our vinyl-ester resin. Then the foam, either high-density or Nida-core, was placed on top of the saturated glass. The top of the foam was slickened with more resin, followed by a layer of 12-ounce double-biased fiberglass, which was fully saturated. Finally, we laid peel ply over everything to give it the smoothest finish possible once cured. Since we planned to vacuum bag these panels, there were a few extra steps. After glassing, each piece was covered with absorbent cloth to soak up any excess resin during the vacuum process. Then a large vacuum bag was placed over the table and pressed into butyl tape to seal in any air gaps. At this stage, it's crucial to keep resin off the tape. Any contamination can break the seal. Then came my favorite part, flipping on the compressor and watching the bag draw down, pressing tight against the foam as air rushed out. Slowly, the cloth darkened with resin, a good sign that we'd nailed our glassing job. And with these summer temps, it will only take about an hour to cure before we can pop the pieces off and start building.
Well, you can see I have now glued the pieces together. 9 o'clock in the morning and I'm sweating so bad already. But last night I cut out and bonded majority of the pieces together already. You can see just used that Total Boat thickened structural putty to put these pieces together. Now I'm going to go through and glass them. Cutting it out, I cursed myself because typically what I'll do is laminate one piece of foam and then after that's all done, then cut the pieces out. Some reason I got ahead of myself and I cut the pieces out first, then went through and laminated. What that does is that puts glass on the edges and it just doesn't bond well to that even when vacuuming it down because I need to come through and cut it back off anyway. So I had to go through and cut that and you can see it ends up being a bit of tearing there that I have to sand out before I go through and do the final glass of that area. Had I done one big piece, the cuts are much neater and there's less tearing than what usually goes with that. So I would have missed that step and I would have been able to cut them to more accurate shapes. Like the back of this guy. But because of the resin, which is hard to cut through, and the extra glass that came over the edge, you can see that straight cut just wasn't really possible. And I ended up getting this weird shape there. This is something I knew. This is not a new lesson. This is just reinforcing the fact that don't hurry through and pay attention to what you're doing instead of, because now it's going to cost me some more time to fill that in before I can go through and round it over and glass over that top.
The first step before glassing was placing coves or fillets at the seams of all the pieces coming together. This is essential for when two panels meet at a corner, especially at 90-degree angles. The sharp edge is too tight for fiberglass cloth to lay into without lifting or forming air bubbles. A cove creates a gentle curve at the seam, giving the glass cloth a smooth surface to drape over, which improves adhesion and strength. Once the cove was tacky, it was time for glass. We used 2 layers of 12-ounce double-biased fiberglass applied with Total Boat's polyester resin. The first layer provides the initial structure strength and bonds directly to the foam, while the second reinforces and smooths out the finish. We did the 2 layers for added strength because we know we'll be putting a lot of pressure on the seat as it gets forced from our body in many different angles. Lastly, we applied a layer of peel ply over the top, not only to give us the cleanest surface possible once cured, but also to eliminate the need for sanding before the next round of glass or fairing. It leaves a slightly textured surface that's ready for the next step.
Previously, I've gone through and laminated these beams that are going to be our supports. Ended up using 2 layers of 12-ounce biaxial double bias and 2 layers of, I think there's 17 or 18-ounce unidirectional. With of course, the lengthwise go in this direction. They are now incredibly stiff and rigid. Should be more than enough to support us and support just the chair itself from moving around. But it did still keep it nice and lightweight, which is what I was going for. I think the whole thing so far weighs maybe 25 pounds, somewhere around there. And that actually might be high. And hopefully I can keep it that way. And it's actually will be a good value building this out of composite instead of trying to do it with aluminum beams and that kind of thing.
We repeated the coving and glassing process on the back of the seat to attach the legs, which Matt had reinforced with strips of our unidirectional fiberglass. And since we've already walked you through the steps once, we'll leave you with some good old boat building ASMR. Being a terrible vlogger here, but our cockpit seat, I've started to ferret out because Matt did the last bits of glassing. He had routed the edges, so it's actually laying on its side back right now. I mean, this is how it will be when it sits in position. But the edges are routed and glassed, so I'm just gonna go through and do a little bit of fairing. I started yesterday. Poor seat did not get finished, but it has been primed and you can see it sitting upright as it will right now. Right now we're looking at the aft side, and that part is still gonna get glassed into the overhead, the cabin top. From the front you can really see now, because before it was like always on its side, so 2-person seats and the steps that will lead up to the cabin top. Anything that's bare fiberglass still has to get glassed in and hasn't been touched yet, but it's looking really nice. Matt has been working very, very hard at getting it faired and primed and dicumed and sanded and faired and primed. And although I am very sad that we haven't gotten the helm seat in position and I haven't gotten to show you the progress on the engine beds, which I know I'm trying not to go overboard. They're almost done and ready for primer too, but Northern Michigan is calling. A lot of you had said that we kind of look a little tired and need a vacation, which we are in desperate need of, and it's just been hot and muggy around here. So we are taking off. And if you're interested, you can stick around for the last minute or two while Matt and I show you some of the places that were the most special to us before we left to go cruising. We would go up there every summer while we were dating and married, and still one of our absolute favorite places in the world. Our trip to Glen Arbor didn't officially start here, but these vineyard views on the Mission Peninsula of Traverse City, let's call them a relaxing check-in period before the adventure. We're about to be greeted with my favorite view in the entire world. Is it this? Is it this? Is it this? No, it's not this one. It's like the biggest anticipation in the world.
No. So much green.
So much green.
You can't even see it anymore.
No. Yeah, the vegetation has grown so much you can't even see it anymore.
Well, this used to be one of the best
reveals.
Yeah, best reveals, but vegetation has grown up a bit.
Now wait for the reveal. Here we go. Ta-da! Lakes on both sides. Sleeping Bear Dunes. Beautiful.
And no salt water to be seen.
Oh, yes. Still one of my favorite spots in the world. Look at this clear water. I am calf deep and it's so cold. It's, I think I checked it like 67, 68, so let me get down to my knees. Ooh, haven't changed into my suit yet. Okay, knee deep water, let's let it calm down. Oh, it's a little breezy now, but yeah, you can still see my toes down there. Just this beautiful, clear, fresh water. Surrounded by trees and dunes. So you can probably see why this is one of our favorite places in the world of all that we've been. Clear water, fresh water, blue, perfect temperatures, sun, sand. Kind of don't want to keep giving this secret away to people because even 10 years later now it's a lot busier than it was when we used to come here, but Glen Arbor is forever going to have my heart. Dearest man. And now time for one of the biggest sites of the area, the dune climb at the Pierce Stocking Overlook. 425 feet down to the water. We turn around.
yes in a minute.
And there goes Matt. Haha, he thinks I'm following him. But I'm going all the way down. Matt's already started his way back up. You want to go all the way down? Yeah, look at my feet just sinking. You bastard. Saw him running down, so I had to chase after him. Well, he went about halfway. And I think this will be the last of our walking for the rest of today. That's good. You've been resting a lot longer than me, though. Okay.
Yeah, when I sat down, I was like 140.
Okay, well, now let's watch all the other poor people coming up.
Give me your freedom. Whoa, yeah, to pieces. Yeah, I need it. Want your pandemonium. Life is so easy. Whoa, you love me to pieces. Yeah, I need it. Want your pandemonium.